maybe I was wrong, you know, maybe I was wrong in my last video. In my last video, it seems that I possibly upset a few of you guys talking about other car brands. I only spoke about two, Mercedes and Ferrari. The Ferrari one seemed to get a lot more responses and a lot more feedback than the Mercedes AMG GT. I was just talking hypothetically, I was talking about collecting other cars. Something that adds to the 911, something that adds to the 911 experience that you want to have in your garage. So that's all it was about. I'm still a Porsche guy, don't get me wrong. Nothing's changed, nothing's changed. My battery's about to die, so I need to change that right now. Okay, that's better. That's better. Sorry about the background view. I know it's not attractive like other YouTubers have very fancy backgrounds. That is the kitchen. To get the perfect light today, because it's one of those miserable type days in London. And because I work on a very limited budget here, I do have a light, but it's not working properly, so I don't have a light. Yeah, so I don't have the proper lighting set up, so I'm using the outside here, facing towards me, the best way to get some light, and the light's perfect, which means you have to see the kitchen. Yeah, so thinking about that, I was thinking about that because I get a lot of people asking me, or a lot of people talking about, you know, what people, well, not actually asking me, but people talking about how they want to get into their first Porsche. And I know sometimes it feels like it's an impossible thing. It is really quite an impossible thing. You know, and secondhand 911s, as we know, in certain countries and in US and the UK, they're quite inexpensive for a 996, 997. Going up, but, you know, not too expensive. But too expensive is all relative, and you know, I know when I bought my 997, I was in the same boat. I didn't want to go over a certain budget. I tried to keep to that budget. Carrera S's came up, which were in excess of my budget, and you know, I kind of stuck to it, and I'm happy what I did. You know, I still have a Porsche. I still have the 911. I got a really good example, low mileage, etc. You know, no IMS issues. The model year that I wanted, so everything is fine. But I'm just thinking about people that want to get into Porsche and don't have that opportunity. And this is going back to my last video where I'm talking about second car garage. And I guess it's because some people commented and sent me private messages about, you know, they're just trying to get their first Porsche, let alone a second car. And I think it comes down to a very important fact, is that there is a model in the Porsche range. And there is a model that is very, very low, very, very low cost to get into. And yeah, you might have to spend a little bit of money to make it better. And that is the Boxster. And despite all the hairdresser car jokes and all the rest of it, the Porsche Boxster is actually a really, really good car. And I'm talking about the early Porsche Boxsters. I'm talking about 1990, so it came out 97 model year, wasn't it? I think I'm talking 1999 to 2004, 1999 to 2004. Preferably, I would say, if you're looking for your first Porsche, I think it's a good entry-level way to get into it. And you know, you could take the car on the track. You could track the car. It doesn't cost you a lot of money. Mid-engined, it gives you a good driving experience. You've got certain issues which you have to deal with earlier models, but you know, if you get a 1999 to 2004 model Boxster, and I have been looking at this, and this is probably spurned on by someone that I follow on Instagram, which I won't mention their name, who has a Boxster and actually puts it into Porsche Club events. And I kind of sort of started seeing it, and then I kind of started reading about other Porsche Boxster events and Porsche Boxsters, you know, being raced, and the livery on some of the ones I saw here in the UK on something on Porsche Newsroom. And it's like you have an idea in your head and it's there, and then you keep seeing things and you think, wow, this is the time, if you wanted to buy a Boxster or you wanted to get your first Porsche, to do it. I mean, look at 944s, 924s, 928s. They were cheap, but they're not as cheap as they used to be. The Boxster you can still get at a really good price. I had a quick look on car sales in Australia. And I know this is more expensive than the UK and the US, but I had a look on car sales, and a low model Porsche Boxster is a low mileage Porsche Boxster in that year, that 1999 to 2004. Obviously there was a couple of updates there with the engine got slightly more horsepower, the window changed from the black, the plastic, crackly plastic to the glass, so it became a lot better. But you know, there was some there from 22,000 Australian dollars up to 30 something thousand Australian dollars. Now, 30,000 Australian dollars, there was one example, I think 29,000, it had 20,000 kilometers, original kilometers, and it was an S, it wasn't a base. For some reason in my head, and I have read about this and I couldn't find the article to refer to it. I've read a few articles actually, but I couldn't actually find it. That people say that the 2.7, and if you know this, let me know in the comments, but let's just go back to what I would look for if you're looking to get your first Porsche. I would get the Boxster. I would get, obviously you'd have to get the manual, not the Tiptronic. I would get the 2.7, not the not the Boxster S, the larger engine. I would get the 2.7. And like I said, the 2.7 I think in 2002 got slightly more horsepower and then a little bit more horsepower later on. I'm not an expert on Boxsters, so I don't have all the facts and figures. I'm just talking off the cuff here. So yeah, so if you're looking at a 99 to 2004, 2.7 litre manual Boxster, with reasonably low kilometers, and low kilometers I would probably look at something, and I'm not talking miles, talking kilometers, under 100, under 80,000, 100,000 kilometers, 80,000 maybe. Get it checked out, get a good PPI done on it. You will need to put some money into it, so try and get a good deal when you do the deal. You know, you need to look at the IMS issue and the RMS issue. You know, you need to look at those common issues which you can easily Google. There's lots of talk on the Renless forums and Porsche forums about Boxsters. You know, but bearing in mind there are models there you can get for like 12,000 Australian dollars. There were early ones for 12,000. Very high mileage, not in manual. So you know, you're always going to pay a little bit more for the one that you know is the correct one. But I mean, looking at it, I mean, I was tempted. And this is going back from my video last week about, you know, a second car in the garage, and I'm tempted by the Boxster. And like I said, my only problem is that I travel so much and I'm not always in Australia. As you know, I'm in London and Australia, and I don't have a car in London. But you know, it's a tempting proposition because it's not a lot of money. You know, in Australia, 25,000 is the price of a Volkswagen Polo or something like that, or a Hyundai. You know, it's not a lot of money. The Porsche Boxster, when it came out, I remember seeing it in Sydney for the first time. I remember seeing it on the streets and thinking, wow, that's really cool. And it always looks so fat at the back. Obviously, it doesn't look as fat these days when you see the original, but it always looks so fat at the back. You know, you might have to do something with the soft tops. Sometimes the soft tops are damaged. If you get the one with the plastic window, they're normally yellow, they're normally crackled up unless someone's really taken a lot of good care with them. Like I said, after 2002. But you know what, if I had limited funds and I wanted if I wanted a Porsche, I would stop saving for the 911 if I knew it was going to take too long, and I would possibly buy the Boxster. And I know it's like a compromise because it's the lower level and it's not a 911. But you're in the Porsche family, you can always trade up. The Boxster's going to go up in price, it's not going to go down. A very special thing happened in the UK actually last weekend at the NEC, the motor show, the classic motor show at NEC, not sure, NEC something, classic motor show. I'll put a link down below. And Porsche UK had Boxsters there that were restored by the classics division. They were in a really special color. They were in the special color of the Spider, I think, like a silver platinum color. I think that's a sign. I hate to say it, but I've talked about this classic thing before, and I think it's a sign. I think if you get a Boxster now, you've got a very collectible 911 and a fun 911 to drive. And like I said, it could be your track car, or not your track car. It could be your Porsche Club car, and you use it. You have your, you know, if you don't have a 911, that's fine. If you have a 911, like I do, you have that as your second car, and that is your fun car, and that's the car you take to events, that you take to sprint events, and you take to, you know, the Porsche Club events, and get into that sort of thing, leading on to maybe doing track days if you haven't done track days. I've never done track days. you know. I've been watching a great channel actually on YouTube, and you should have a look at it. I think he's a German guy. He obviously lives close to the ring. He had a Cayman GT4, he had a GT4, yeah, and then now he's got a GT3 RS, a new one. He drives around the ring. It's really interesting to watch. It's just POV driving. I'll put a link here or here, be either side. Check it out, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Yeah, so just a short video today, but I would say if you are looking for to get into the Porsche family, I would look at the Boxster, and I would look at, like I said, 1999 to 2004. Get all your checks done. I think it's a great car. I'm starting to look at it. I'm starting to look at it because if I can get one for $25,000, tempting. I just need to find somewhere to garage it, and I'd also have to be in Australia to drive it. So that's half the problem. But anyway, thanks for watching today. Just a short video. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, my name is Michael Barth. I should have said that at the beginning. A lot of you guys know me already. Please hit the subscribe button, and every like helps. Until we talk again.